Hello. Welcome back to I think we're hovering around 75, the 75th episode of the Nobody Asked for This podcast. I hope everyone has had a splendid week. I'm going to be honest, up front, open. When I record these, I really try and do it all in kind of one go, so I'll either sit down in my car in the Taco Bell parking lot, or I'll sit down on my beanbag chair in my very fancy recording studio, or, somewhere such as that. This is going to be probably an on-the-go episode. I'm starting it in my beanbag chair. It is a ripe 6:57 a.m., which I think is probably the earliest I've ever recorded, unless you would consider 2 o'clock in the morning early. Now, I would call that late, but I guess it's all about perspective. So I would say this is the earliest I've ever recorded. I didn't realize how tired I was until I started talking. Not to complain, but I woke up at about 4:30. That would be a.m. I much prefer to wake up at 4:30 p.m., but I woke up at 4:30 a.m. for no reason. I didn't have to be up at 4:30. I had to be up around 6:30. I did not have to be up at 4:30. And then I tried to go back to sleep for about an hour. And then around 5:30, I said, okay, listen, it's not going to happen. Because here's the thing. I don't mind waking up early. I mean, 4:30 is a little bit too extreme in terms of early. But if I'm going to be up and not ever go back to sleep, I'd rather just accept it and get some stuff done. You know what I mean? If I get a bonus hour or two that I didn't think I was going to have, sure, I can turn that into a positive. But the problem is, you never know. At least I never know. I'll speak for myself. I never know if I'm going to fall back or sleep or not. Because sometimes I'll usually wake up at least. This is so interesting. I'm sure everyone wanted to know. I usually wake up at least once throughout the night. And then it's okay, I'll check the time. I'll be I have this many hours of sleep. Okay, let's go back to sleep. So that happened today. I woke up at 4:30. I said, oh, cool, I have a couple more hours. Brilliant. The only problem was I didn't go back to sleep. And I don't think there's any worse place to be than... Well, okay. Obviously, yes, there are worse places to be. But in my world of being dramatic, there's not a worse state to be in than in your bed with not being able to sleep. Having the time to sleep, having the will to sleep, having the desire to sleep, and not being able to sleep. I believe they made sleeping pills for this exact reason. Now, the problem is, A, I don't have any, and B, I don't know that you can take... are there nap pills? I'm sure most sleeping pills, you're out for, hours. But, are there, nap pills? Let me Google that. If not, there should be. And if this says melatonin, I'm quitting the internet. It doesn't work. At least for me. Are there napping pills? Just a light... No, it's just saying sleeping pills. Yikes. Also, can we not name drugs, like prescription drugs or whatever, better names? It's always a something diazolam, or it's 8 syllables. Can it just be this one is for sleep, this one is for headache? Can it just be called what it's curing? I don't know. I just feel it would even make it easier for the pharmacists, and then there would be less chance of there being a mix-up. The pharmacist is not going to accidentally give you pain when they meant to give you sleep, but if it's called diazolam and clidalazolam, they might mess that up. And that's happened to me before. Now, luckily, we caught it before, the big one happened. Also, doctors' writing is nuts anyway. So if we just make it short, at least shorter words, I really think the medical community could be even just a little bit better. But I'm sure someone's thought of it. There's no way I am going to think of an idea that, like, fixes the medical community. I'm sure there's a reason that they don't do this. Maybe if that reason is as simple as they want to sound smart. Listen, we get it, doctors. We appreciate you. We respect you. You are smart. We know that. Maybe just simplify everything for yourselves. Yeah. Anyway, back to what I was saying about sleep. I really wish there was a way to know for sure or not if I was going to fall back asleep, because then I really waste so much time, like fake sleeping, and for what? You know? It's like when you didn't want to go somewhere on a weekend, so you would just like sort of fake sleep when your parents came in your room. It's like you're doing that, but for no one. For nothing and no one. But the problem is, sometimes I want to start doing stuff, like I'll just start reading or whatever, but then I'm scared that is going to wake me up. And apparently our phones, like, you look at your phone and, like, there's no way you're going to sleep in the next hour. Now, that's definitely not 100% true, because I will be on my phone until the last minute. Like, I'll go from, like, typing something to, like, dead asleep in 5 minutes flat. Not to brag. But I'm scared to look at my phone when I can't sleep, because it's like, is that going to wake me up? But then I'm also scared to not look at my phone, because there's nothing worse than just, like, staring at the ceiling. What I try to do sometimes, if anyone is looking for tips on this matter, is I will read a book, but like a really boring book, and that will normally put me to sleep. But the problem with that is, like, you have to turn on a light to read a book, or I have my, like, e-reader thing now, but, like, does that follow the same rules as the phone? And then it's gonna, like, alert my brain that, like, we're up and awake? I feel like no. I feel like my Kobo, not to brag, I don't even have a brand name Kindle. I have, like, the e-reader, it's just a generic e-reader. But I like it. I feel like the screen is different. It's not the same, like, blue light. It actually looks, like, old. Like, it looks like it's, like, the first venture into touchscreens, but, like, it does the job. Also, I've told everyone before. Also, I do just want to say, do the daily or the weekly per episode reminder. Like, I know no one's listening to this. If you happen to stumble upon this and think, why is he talking like there's people listening? Like, I know there's not. Trust me. I see the stats. I see the numbers. It's not great. They're dwindling. Actually, they're not really dwindling, because the average is like 1 or 2, which I'm pretty sure is me just, like, testing to make sure the episode uploaded properly. So it's only up from here. But I've mentioned before how I have a bright green line going down the side of my phone because I dropped it. And Apple has to be dramatic, so they have to make, like, basically anytime your phone brushes against a surface the wrong way, anytime you are, trying to get out the Coffee Crisp Pumpkin Spice Latte edition out of your backpack, and then forget your phone is in your hand and it drops hard on a marble floor. Anytime that happens, they want to make money off of it. So they can't just make my phone screen crack, which I could accept. I could accept a crack. What I can't accept is this big vertical green line going down the side of my phone, which I'm pretty sure is causing me to have a headache. I brought this up because I think that it's waking me up even worse. So I'm going to have to get some sort of burner phone situation. I found my old phone, which has a home button, and I've been sort of doing a soft launch of maybe just switching to that. Now, you could ask, like, why don't you just get your phone fixed? I don't know why I haven't done that yet. It just sounds like a lot of work to, like, have to go to a store and, like, get a quote, and then, like, they have to take my phone, which they could technically do because no one is sending me a text. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just a lot of steps. And I have been busy, and I hate that excuse of, I've been busy. Like, just sleep less. You know what I mean? Probably not a healthy motto to have, but anytime someone's like, yeah, no, I really meant to watch that show, but, like, I've been so busy. I'm like, well, just sleep 45 minutes less and you'll be fine. I'm a nightmare. But, I'm pretty sure the green line is causing me to have migraines, of which I did not suffer from previously. So that's fun. Or there is just something deeper wrong, and I'm just blaming it on my phone screen, which I'm kind of cool to do both and kind of stick with that. But Yeah. I have to say, speaking of the numbers for this podcast dwindling, we actually did have an extra listener this week, and it was me. It was myself. I listened to an episode of the podcast from about a year ago, and I have to say, when I put it on, I was instantly appalled at the sound quality. For some reason, I was thinking that recording this podcast in my basement into my broken phone, I guess my recently broken phone, so it's not, we can't really blame the break. But it was like really bad. Like it was like there was like a crackle in the background. For whatever reason, it doesn't sound like that when I play it on my phone, like off of the voice note app. So I don't know what to tell you, but I just have to thank anyone who has listened to this for not immediately exiting upon hearing the background noise and the crackle. And then I have to really thank you for not exiting upon hearing my like nasally voice that sounds like I have a sinus infection, but it just stays that way. Like I literally sound like I had a sinus infection and it never went away. Like it just stuck to the point where like I'll get actually sick and you like can't really tell. It just sounds like I'm being dramatic, being like, oh, I have a sore throat. They're like, no, you don't. I'm like, I do. Can't you hear it? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, I'm going to be fully honest here. I did give a warning up at the beginning. This is about 2.5 hours later. I'm in a car now. I told you this was going to be a mobile, on-the-go episode. I contemplated recording while I was in traffic, but my car, we've gone over this before, likes to make a lot of noises. And I just didn't think it was going to be, providing the best sound quality, especially given the fact that I already don't provide the best sound quality. So I thought, you know what, let me wait. I also don't know what the laws are concerning podcasting and driving. I mean, I have a very safe phone stand, so I wouldn't be holding the phone, obviously. I just wasn't sure, so I want to look into it. I'll have legal look it over. And I also had like the heat going, like it was a whole production, and I didn't want it to be like, and then like you could kind of hear my voice in the background. And then the worst thing that would happen would be I would record it thinking it was listening, and then I would listen to it back and you wouldn't be able to hear anything that I said. And then I would be in a position where I had to re-record something if I wanted to release it. And then it's like, so do I just verbatim repeat what I just said before, which that's never any fun, or do I have to think of like all new topics? It's not an ideal situation. It really isn't. I would like to talk about something, obviously. I'm admitting a fault. I feel like it helps to just be open with things. I'm working on something, which is my favorite thing to say. Like anytime someone brings up like a fault of mine, or like, hey, like you could do better at this, I'm like, yeah, no, like I'm totally working on it. Now what that means, I don't know. It just seems like the thing to say. So what I'm going to be working on next is getting better at bringing my beverage containers from the car cup holder back into the kitchen. Now, I don't have a problem bringing them from the kitchen to the cup holder, but I find that if I have the option to just leave it in there being the car cup holder, I do. I'm surrounded by 4 cups, okay? It's Wednesday when I'm recording this. 4 cups. And it was a long weekend on Monday, so I've worked exactly 1 day. And I don't even always bring a coffee with me to work. I like coffee. I enjoy coffee. I don't need it. Like, I don't get, like, the caffeine shakes or, like, a caffeine headache if I don't have it. So I'm pretty flexible. It's, like, 50-50. Flexible wasn't the word, but you know what I mean. Like, sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. So the fact that I have 4 mugs which, thank God, because if I was an everyday coffee person, I would have to get a bigger car to fill with all my mugs. Now, in my defense, I'm trying to be very Greta compliant. I feel like she would want me to use the reusable cups. I could just use paper cups. I could just buy disposable cups, and we could throw them out and be done with it, but I don't. Now, the problem with that is, as I said, I have trouble bringing them back in. So I really have to resort to every single cup holder placement in my car. So, like, obviously there's the 2 up in the front. What is that called? Is it the front row? Like where the steering wheel is. So there's the 2 cup holders there. And then I have 2 cup holders in the back for, like, the people in the middle bench. And then the middle seat in the middle row will pull down, and then there's 2 additional cup holders. So once I've really got that 7th cup, I have to do something about it. Until the other day, I realized that, hey, these cups are all the same, which means I'll probably stack. So I have, like, stacks of cups now. I didn't say this, so it's not really again, but I don't know what the issue is. Like, I could truly just bring them in, but for some reason, I think what it is I have a lot of pep in my step in the morning, unless I woke up at 4:30 again, but I have enough pep to get me to do the extra steps of, like, pouring the coffee into the mug, and then, you know, maybe putting my pumpkin syrup, you know, just for fall flavor, autumnal spirit. I have enough energy to do that, but then by the time I get home, I'm just like, oh my gosh, my bed is so close. Like, let me just grab my bag, lock the car, and run. Like, I don't really think of it. So, anyway, I hope next week I'm able to report that I have no cups in my cup holders. Because then I also worry, like, it's a plastic cup. So I probably shouldn't be putting hot stuff in there anyway, but Costco said I could, so I'm just going to go for that. But, like, I feel like a plastic cup shouldn't be sitting in a hot car, like, during the summer for longer than necessary. You know what I mean? Like, it's probably not necessarily healthy. But yeah, I really have to pee. I'm going to be really honest, but my plan is to get a little bit more recorded. I'm really being honest about this. This is like a podcast on podcasting. I have to pee, but I don't want to get out of the car. So that's a predicament. I mean, hey, I am surrounded by 7 cups. Anyway, I have I normally at least do one sort of segment on what the new fast food holiday flavors are. And I have a couple updates on that front. The first being, I believe that the chestnut praline latte at the coffee shop that shall not be named, I believe it to be a plant. I don't understand why it's still there. I've had it personally. It's pretty good. I've never known anybody, at least that I can remember, that orders the chestnut praline latte. And this kind of dawned on me last week when I was talking about how I was so excited for the gingerbread latte to be back, and I am, and that's true, and I've had it, and it's great. But I'm a little bit confused as to how the chestnut praline latte survived the great supply chain shortage of 2021, in which we lost both the gingerbread and the eggnog latte due to supply chain issues. I don't understand how there was such demand for the chestnut praline latte that has been back every year, but we couldn't bring back the gingerbread. And I hate to complain, even though I've done it for about 75 episodes every week, or once a week, the past 75 weeks, at least half an hour to 45 minutes, on multiple different platforms, but I don't understand how it survived. I would like to see a graph, a grid. I want to see the breakdown. I want proof that the gingerbread latte was the least best-selling. Or else it kind of seems personal that they would get rid of the thing I ordered. I don't know. So I don't want to spend too much time on this because, again, I'm trying to not be negative. I actually think that'll be my New Year's resolution. I'm starting to think of what would be my New Year's resolution. I think that'll be my New Year's resolution for 2024 is positivity. So just fair warning, you have a couple months before this podcast starts getting even more boring, because if I can't complain about anything, I don't really know what I would talk about. But just so everyone knows, I think something's fishy with the chestnut praline latte. And again, it's not bad. I also don't so a praline is a caramelized pecan. So then what does a chestnut have anything to do with anything? Like, I've had chestnuts. They have them, like, on the street, like, in the carts. Like, you get a hot bag of chestnuts. I couldn't really describe to you the flavor.
And I also, when I've had the chestnut praline latte, couldn't tell you what I was drinking. Like, if I closed my eyes, could not tell you that it was a chestnut praline latte. It just tastes like nutty. Which they also have, which sounds shockingly similar to their toffee nut syrup. It's just backwards. So instead of nut toffee, they have toffee nut. So I'm even more confused as to how the chestnut praline has stayed around when they basically had a syrup that probably tastes exactly like it. Just saying. Even more confusing. So they can figure that out. I'm just asking the questions. I hardly provide any answers. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to ask the questions. So there's that. But the second piece of fast food holiday-themed news is that Wendy's, the good people at Wendy's, Wendy herself, has announced a peppermint, not a Slurpee, what is their, not a McFlurry, what is it called? What is their, Frosty! They have announced a peppermint Frosty. So that's interesting. I haven't tried it yet. I will try it and report back. I know everyone's waiting. I like a peppermint Frosty. I have to send some sincere apologies to everyone in the States. I've tried your Frosties. I don't know if the cows are different over there. I don't know if there's different like dairy laws, something about the enzymes. I'm not sure. I tried a Wendy's Frosty in America and it tasted literally awful. I wanted to spit it out. But of course I didn't because I had already, paid the $5 or whatever with the exchange rate. So I wasn't wasting that. I'm not stupid. Well, kind of. But it wasn't great. But the dairy here is better. So I will do a full review of the peppermint. What is it called? Frosty. I don't know why that word is so hard for me to find today. And get back to you on the next week. Oh, and one more thing. I saw that KFC has what they call their festive chicken sandwich, which I believe is just their regular chicken sandwich, like their version of the Popeyes one that everyone was like rear-ending each other in the drive-thru to get and like causing hissy fits. KFC came up with a version of that they're now putting like stuffing, cranberry sauce, and gravy, and then maybe some mashed potatoes in the sandwich. Again, I'll try it. I have to. I'm doing it for work. I'm doing it for the Nobody Asked for This podcast. The people want me to try it. The people being me. Our only listener, me. This really is like if there's ever such thing as like bonding with yourself, I think this is what I'm doing here. I recommend it, honestly. I think everyone should be if I was a doctor, getting back to me being a part of the medical community, if I was a doctor, I would say, you have to go on your phone, go to the voice notes app, click record, and just talk for half an hour. I really think it's healthy to get your thoughts out there. I probably would have forgot about that I wanted to try the peppermint Frosty, and then I wanted to try the festive chicken sandwich KFC style version holiday edition special. And now I know that because I've been forced to really like unpack the brain, Okay, again, keeping it 100% real. It's about 12 hours since I last recorded that middle section. Obviously, we had the first part from 6 a.m. this morning, and then we had the middle part in the car. Now it's about 9 o'clock at night, and I am back in the beanbag chair in which I started. A solid, 14 hours later? It's really crazy how long a day is. I mean, we always hear there's 24 hours in a day, but if you really break that down, okay, you're sleeping for what? I mean, ideally 8 of it. Like some people more, some people less. Okay, so that's what? 24 take away 8, that's 18. And then you're probably getting ready, I don't know, let's say an hour. So then that's down to what? I kind of lost track. 24 to 16. That's 15. And let's say you probably drive let's say maybe another hour and a half. Okay, so 15, that's 13 and a half. And let's say you work, we'll call it 8, but it's usually probably closer to 9. So 15 and a half. It's what? What is that? 15 and a half take away 8. Let's just say 9.
So that's what? I still can't do the math. What's 15 and a half take away 8? 5 and a half would get us to 10. And then 2 more of that would get us to 7 and a half. Which would be, no. 5, oh my gosh, 5 and a half. Okay, 15. Okay, let's forget the half. 15 take away 8 is 7. Yeah, so 7.5 hours left. Let's be real. It's 9 when you go to work, because you have to, get there and then, put your stuff away, and then there's like you packing up, and then you got to make a coffee. It's 9 hours. So that's what? So you have 6.5 hours left. Let's say you spend, according to my phone screen time thing, about 8.5 hours on my phone. So now we're at negative 2.5 hours roughly. So I kind of see where all my time is going now. Time is nuts. I think that'll be my New Year's resolution for the imminent New Year of 2024. I think I'm going to spend my time more wisely, Don't worry, I'll still waste the half an hour a week to record this. It's not a waste to me. You know what else I want to do? I want to start drinking water with syrup from TJ Maxx. I've been seeing that a lot, just on the internet, of people, putting like those types of syrups. In like in Canada it's Winners, but they have like Home Goods or Marshalls, or like I said, TJ Maxx, JCPenney. They have that like random food aisle that you're like, where did this food come from? Like who, like I'm pretty sure, I'm under the impression that it's like some sort of like a return system, like food that they can't sell or like was returned from somewhere else, something like that. There's no way there's people in factories like showing up to work every day to make food to put in that like random aisle off to the side near the checkout in the Home Goods store. Like, no way. But for whatever reason they end up there, and I'm always looking, and I saw last time I was there like a 1.5 liter huge bottle of pumpkin spice syrup. And I have to say, as much as I wanted to buy it, I was very proud of myself that I didn't, because I think in my just to be honest, my stupider days, I would have spent the $15 on 1.5 liters of pumpkin spice syrup, sugar-free, and I wouldn't have used it. I would have used a drop. I would have thought, ugh, this tastes like gasoline, because of course it does, and it would have sat in the sort of side compartment of my fridge for years, and like every once in a while when I like went to put the ketchup back, it would have awkwardly sort of not fit. And then I would have been too lazy to fix anything until I closed the door, and the door didn't shut. So then I really had to move and shift things around. Actually, yeah, if you're going to we're coming up on the weekend. I implore everybody to really clean out your fridges. Like, look through the condiments, take stock, be like, okay, this hasn't been used in 6 months. I bought this 4 years ago. This is from pre-COVID. Like, really, really take accountability for what you have in your fridge. Because I'm telling you, I did that earlier this year, and the fridge was like half empty. And I was like, wait. And the problem with that is I would go through the moral dilemma of like, I could just throw this third full bottle of ketchup that I forgot that got shoved to the back. I could just throw it in the garbage. I really could. I could. Or I could do the whole thing where you rinse it out, make sure there's no food left, put it in the recycling. And I ultimately am proud to say that I did do that, but it took a lot of effort for every bottle. If there's a theme to not only this episode, but this podcast in general, like, I am inherently lazy, but I'm fighting it every day. Like, I wake up every day and I have to make an attempt to not be lazy. And I don't know if that's everybody. I assume it's some people. But like, I want nothing more than to take the lazy way out. Like, it's so tempting. So tempting. And I'm usually pretty good at like actually, doing the hard work of rinsing out the containers and, putting them in the proper receptacle, recyclable container. But yeah, so anyway, I hope you all join me and we can cheers to our 2024 with our TJ Maxx syrup water. We can put salted caramel. We can put, what else do they have? Pumpkin spice. We can put probably like a toasted vanilla, like not a regular vanilla, but like a salted or like a marshmallow vanilla. They always have, it basically is candles. Like it's the same flavors as candles, just in a syrup. So we can maybe see if they can get a chestnut praline option, stuff like that. I think it's going to be pretty good. Thank you for joining me on this, a very turbulent episode of the Nobody Asked for This podcast. I really did it in three parts, in 3 acts, and basically like Shakespeare, I would say. I think he might have written stuff in like 5 or 6 acts, but you know what I mean. We did an act format, and I hope it wasn't terrible. And if it was terrible, there is always next week. And like I said, this is like the 75th or something-ish episode, so like one of them had to be good. If you look back far enough, I really should just listen through and highlight and put somewhere on our website or something like, no, these are the good episodes. Like forget these, but like there's got to be a handful that aren't terrible. Hopefully. And speaking of our website, if you want to hear more of the Nobody Asked for This podcast, you can go to podcastnobodyaskedforthis.podbean.com. And on there you can find, I think you could just listen to the episode straight on there. You can find links to our iTunes, Spotify, a couple other places. You can find our Instagram, our Twitter, our Facebook. And I recently kind of questioned, like, why do I say that whole thing of finding us on our website? Because if you can hear this, if you can listen to the directions of how you listen to the podcast, doesn't that mean you already know how to listen to the podcast? But maybe not, because if you're listening on YouTube, because I do put this on YouTube as like a video, it's not like a actual video, like it's just a blank screen the entire time. But if maybe you're listening on there and then wanted to subscribe, I don't know. Like, no pressure, but if you wanted to, no pressure. Again, if not, all good. But just the option. So that's why I said that. And then when I kind of thought of that excuse, I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's a perfect thing that I can say is why I'm doing that, you know? Because I'm just really looking to justify all my behavior. Anyway, I'm going to go. I hope you all have a great weekend, or at least a decent weekend at the least. And yeah, take care. Bye.